What do you like beautiful?
Dude, I always have this one piece of hair that like hangs down because of the headphones.
Because you're fucking emo. Emo.
Right here. Get up there, bro. Hello? We need a makeup team.
I'm ready for my glam hour.
Should just fucking wear a hat all the time. Whatever. I don't give a shit. Well, welcome back to another episode of Buffalo Happy Hour. Mike, what's going on?
Derek's currently in a ongoing battle with his hair because for some reason the headphones move it, and then he's in a quandary trying to figure out how it can lay correctly.
Well, because
You look like the lead singer of Hawthorne Heights. That's why.
because when we recorded last week's, it was like 20 minutes in, and I had this strand like down here. I'm like, I look stupid, bro.
I didn't notice.
Gotta fix it. Yeah, I know,
So.
because you should have told me that I look like I'm homeless.
So why don't you do the fun-filled ad reads for this week? Today's sponsors.
Addie's Fine Wine and Spirits, thank you very much for your always support. We greatly appreciate you. And then Queen City Creative Works. They are a family-run business on Cheektowaga, New York. They're basically an Etsy shop on steroids. They can do whatever you want from a creative standpoint. So if you're interested in any like woodworking, any like engraving on wood, any type of like bottles or bottle openers like Mike has over on his side, you can get that done. You can have them do any t-shirt designs, like anything that you would possibly want, and they're super responsive and basically willing to take on anything that you ask of them, because chances are we've already asked them to do it and they've tested it all on us. So you can go to their website. It is queencitycreativeworks.com. You can also buy our merchandise there as well. You can scroll down to the bottom where it says Buffalo Happy Hour, and you can purchase one of our bottle openers, water bottles. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word for water bottles, but water bottles and coasters that we also have up there. So let us know if there's anything else that you would like them to make that has our logo on it, because we can start taking notes and send it over to them once we got enough people wanting the same thing. Dude.
So thanks for our sponsors. Leads us right
It was a
into...
little cold in here today, huh?
Shut up, Derek.
I came out here and I'm like, oh, I have this on air condition.
Perfect.
No joke.
It was 55 degrees.
That's why I brought out the other heater too, because I come out here and I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
it's freezing.
Now it's up to 66, so that's good.
It's going to get higher because it's all the way out. It's scheduled to go to 99.
Yeah, and I came from physical therapy, so I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and it's a little brisk in here. But anyways, we're good now. Today's useless fact for you: the fuller the fridge, the more energy efficient it is.
I didn't know that,
Oh, look at you.
because everything acts off of each other.
An empty fridge not only makes it more difficult to decide what to snack on, it also wastes valuable energy. It works like this: the more empty space in the fridge, the more cold air it displaces by warm when you open the door, requiring the appliance to generate cool air to replace it. If the fridge is packed, less cool air escapes and less energy is required to replenish it. The writers at The Kitchen go so far as to advise fridge owners to fill empty bottles with water in order to displace the empty air. So, now you know. Also, there's a Lego bridge in Germany that you can walk across, and it's built from Legos.
Is it an actual like
It literally
bridge over
looks...
water?
It's like giant Lego pieces, but
Over water?
no, it's
Oh.
over a road.
Well, that's not fun then.
The German town of Wuppertal is home to Lego Bruch, also known as Lego Bridge, a bridge that looks like it's made out of candy-colored Lego bricks, providing a foot and bike way for those looking to cross over the street below. Despite appearances, the bridge is not made of giant plastic bricks, however, but concrete, and it's painted to look like
Oh.
the popular building toys by
That's
street
lame.
artist Martin Hewald. So that's today's useless fact.
That's
and
lame.
then I'll keep the internet browser open because I know you're going to ask me questions, and we'll go from there. But
How can you call it a Lego bridge if it's not made out of Legos? It's a Lego bridge, but concrete.
you know, you literally sound like Kevin from The Office every time you ask a question. How come?
Why say more work if you were to do frick? But it's true. Why would they call it a Lego bridge if it's not made out of Legos?
Because it literally is. It looks like actual Lego pieces.
I can do that to my front yard.
Then you should.
No, I don't want to because that would be stupid. I wish
right.
that it was actual plastic over water so people would break it and drown. That's what I would hope for.
Wow.
Yeah.
So today's meat and potatoes is other people making stupid decisions. Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Tell us what's going on, because I was buried and didn't have the time of day to look at anything.
So about a couple weeks ago, he decided to delete the Cardinals from all of his social media, and everyone's like, what is he doing?
Yeah, and then Russell Wilson did the same thing.
Why is he being a child? Well, Russell Wilson, I can understand if he's actually being traded. Like, Russell Wilson is at a contract year. He might be getting traded, and there's no reason for Seattle to keep him because they're not winning a Super Bowl with him right now because they don't have any other pieces to be a Super Bowl contending team. So if I was Russell, I would want out 100%.
Okay.
So in that situation, I would delete social media, all the mentions of Russell Wilson, just that awesome video of him in the bed with his wife going, unlimited, and then just that's it. Did you ever see that? He's like, I'm Mr. Unlimited. It's like, dude, take that off.
I can't stand that.
Yeah.
He's also one of the most annoying athletes to listen to on Mic'd Up.
But anyways. Yeah. But he's a very good quarterback on the right team with an offensive line that's not getting him sacked every single play. But Kyler Murray did the same thing, and he's not in any position to do this. He's not proven himself yet. He's going on to, his third year? He's going on to his third year. So contract talks could be happening this year for next year. He's not really that good. Like, I look at him in the same way of Lamar Jackson, right? Would you say the same thing?
In regards to, like, skill set and what they're known for?
Yeah, skill set and what they're known for. Like, how they contribute to their NFL team.
Yeah, but he's still got a better arm than Lamar.
Sure, yeah, but he's like a run. Well, we haven't really seen him that much. We just see him.
Kyler Murray?
Yeah, we just seen him throw a bomb to DeAndre Hopkins when there's 17 people around us. But that was more D-Hop than it was Kyler. You see him this year without D-Hop.
Every quarterback needs a good wide receiver.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's also a credit to D-Hop because he's disgusting.
100%. And his hands are enormous.
Tiger Nation.
He's not in. No, he's not in.
He's one of the greatest Clemson wide receivers of all time. What are you talking about? No.
He's not in any position to do this. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I agree with you. He's not. He's trash.
Whoa. That's even more brutal than what I said. And you looked at me weird. Why do you think that? His attitude's trash or just him as a person?
Kind of a mixture of both. I mean, like, he was obviously a first-round pick. Cool. He had an annoying suit. Okay. Then he runs around all over the field. He's got speed. Cool. Then he's in a couple commercials. Annoying. Like, I don't care if he's throwing a football in a shower.
Right.
Stupid. And VR goggles are dumb. Like, go back to work. I don't know. I don't get it. And then he's like, I don't know, 4'9".
Right.
And I don't think he's that special. And then his performance when it mattered was horrendous.
Yeah.
And then he's automatically throwing shade and saying, I'm the scapegoat. Well, yeah, bud, you threw a pick six like a dumbass in the playoffs. Like, of course they're going to come after you for that. So I don't like it. He's very entitled.
To me, you have Lamar Jackson, and people will say, like, everyone knows my views on Lamar Jackson. Don't like the guy. But you have Lamar Jackson on one side, and you have Pat Mahomes on the other.
Yeah.
You have Kyler Murray dead middle in those two people. He's not good at either. He's not spectacular at either of them. Like, Pat Mahomes is obviously a better thrower. Lamar Jackson is obviously a better runner. He's in the middle, but he doesn't do either of them spectacularly. He's just the master of all trade, or the jack of all trades, the master of none. That's kind of how I see him. But anyway, so there's speculation that 1, he wanted to get traded. 2, he wanted a contract extension because he's been injured so much, and he wanted guaranteed money because of his playing style and how he gets hit all the time. That he wants guaranteed money in case he gets hit again and he can't play for 2 years. He wanted money. That was the whole speculation on why he did all this, which the letter that came out today, which is what, the 28th? The letter that came out today kind of reinforced that. He was basically saying, listen, I want to stay in Arizona. I want everybody to like me again and not hate me because I'm a child. But I want to stay in Arizona. But in order for me to do that, I need the same amount of money that, like, the top quarterbacks around me are getting paid. And I'm like, dude, this is your third year. You can't do that.
Around him?
Yeah, like his skill set. Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, like his skill set.
It's so dumb.
Dude, you're not going to get that money.
Correct.
Like, I understand his part of it because if Arizona's like, listen, Kyler, we need you to run, and we need you to run often because that's your skill set. I understand him wanting to get a contract extension done now because if he gets injured next year, next year's contract talks are shot.
Yep.
Because he's not going to get money. I understand that part. But for him to say, I want the same money that like Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson would get, no, man, not at all.
I don't think Pat Mahomes is worth what they gave him.
He was when they went to the Super Bowl. I think that they...
I still don't see it, dude. $500 million?
Yeah. Well, I mean...
That's insanity.
Josh Allen's like, what, $400 million?
No, it's 288.
But with the contract or the signing bonus and all that stuff, he was like 450 mil after all the contracts and everything came out.
Or was it 256 guaranteed?
256 guaranteed and like 150 contract or whatever. He was up close to Pat Mahomes. But either way, no way Kyler gets anywhere near that.
I still think there's more. Well, first of all, too, the other side of that, I think there's more upside to Allen than Mahomes. Second,
100%.
The contract structures much better with Allen than Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm worried for them. I could care less, but I'm worried for them that the Chiefs and the Cardinals potentially are going to make the same mistake that the Seahawks made with Russell, overpay one guy, and then there's no money to spend on an offensive line, which is exactly what hurt the Seahawks, and then you have a quarterback who's legitimately running for his life. And the Bengals are going to have to do the same thing because they have Burrow. They know he's a franchise guy. They know that he's worth money, except they still have to put money in their offensive line to protect him. And dude, he went to the Super Bowl and still got sacked like 7 times a game. So I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting conversation for all of them. But the whole I run thing, but you're 200 pounds and 5'10", like it's just not.
Yeah, that's why
it's
you
not
need an
going to
oak
work.
tree in the back like Josh Allen is.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like unless you're Big Ben or Josh Allen size, even Cam Newton got destroyed. So I just don't see it. I really don't.
No, me either.
I just
You should
think
be
it
a
was
running
silly.
back.
Who, Murray?
Yeah. Be a running back or be a slot wide receiver if you have that speed and like do wildcats where you can throw. That's not a franchise quarterback. There's no way that the Arizona Cardinals can have their entire franchise for the next 12 years based off of Kyler Murray. He's just not that quarterback.
Yeah.
I would even go as far as to say I would take Baker Mayfield as a franchise quarterback over Kyler Murray.
I mean, you can just outright say you don't like him, period, instead of that.
That was even deeper than that.
Goodness gracious. Insult a man.
So, speaking of commercials and annoying like ad appearances, why do you think like you have Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers is a different piece because he never was in like a ton of commercials before like the past 4 years.
Right.
Like he went the first half of his career not doing any of that. So why do you think that Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence now are getting in all these commercials and like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and like the better quarterbacks arguably are not?
I think their agent has a lot to do with that,
Yeah.
not the player.
Where they're like, we don't want any distractions. I think that too.
Well, it's not not having any distractions. I think the agent knows that money's in advertising. Money's not necessarily always in contracts. So if they can make money off the field by doing something simple like recording a TV commercial, they're going to make more money on the long run than they will with their contracts, specifically because athletes in the NFL are only realistically supposed to be around for 3 years. That's the norm. And then if you're lasting in the NFL longer than 3 seasons, then you're already within the top like 3% of the entire league, which is insanity. So I think a lot of that is because of I think it's driven from conversations that agents are having, not necessarily the athletes. So, and I would be curious to see if the agents for all of those respective players are under the same firm, because it might be something that the firm is doing on a whole to secure money, because there's guys like Marshawn Lynch, Rob Gronkowski that were financially savvy up front that learned from like senior NFL players, and then that's what they did. They lived off of their endorsements and then saved and stashed away their contracts.
Right.
And once they were done with the league, they were, financially set and good to go, because that financial counseling at 18 years old is key when you're coming out of college and you don't know anything, right? So 18 to 24 anyways.
So you think it's better that they're in commercials?
For the individual, yeah. For our viewing pleasure, absolutely not, because it's super annoying. But from the financial standpoint, yeah. I mean, it's great that players have that open line of communication with their agent, because they know. I mean, Trevor Lawrence knew too coming out of Clemson, but he was always in the spotlight anyways in college, except now he's in the NFL opposed to the starting quarterback at Clemson in the ACC, and saying, I can hold a foot long and have a fan blow my hair around and make $1 million in royalty income, and I only do that, and it takes 13 seconds.
Right.
And then I can go back and watch film and, maintain legitimate generational wealth in the NFL with contracts like that, and then I can stash that money away. I think it's a combined conversation between financial planners, agents, and players, and then, marketing and all the different TV stations. That's what I think.
Is there any athlete that was in a commercial that you're like, okay, I like this one?
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor.
I don't mind Rodgers in the State Farm commercial. I think that he's
mind,
pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't mind Rodgers.
I just hate Pat.
I don't mind Josh Allen in commercials.
But he's not on a national scale. He's just on like West Hurt.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
Josh Allen is a terrible actor. Like, I love the dude to death.
Oh my God, it's so
but
awkward. Yeah, he's just like trying to remember the script.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's
the
so
same as
funny
us.
watching him. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But it's so funny watching him in those commercials because he's talking like this, like he's reading off of something. I'm like, dude, I love you, but please don't do this. Let's not do this on a national scale.
Yeah, no. Joe Green's commercial was awesome from back in the day. Mean Joe Green. Let's see. I mean, that's about it. I can't stand listening to Jim Kelly talk ever.
Yeah.
I get so mad.
Jim Kelly and Steve Tasker. Steve Tasker's commercials I don't like either.
He's annoying to me in that regard. Just his commercials, he's I respect his play. But I literally get aggravated when Jim Kelly talks. I do. It just drives me nuts.
Well, he had something happen. That's why.
He had mouth cancer, and then they ripped some of it out, and then he continues chewing tobacco, so I don't feel bad anymore. Like, you caused it, and now you won't stop anyways after the fact? No. Plus, he beat his wife. He's trash. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah, wow, this took a turn.
Well, don't beat your wife.
It's a good point. What was I going to say? I was going to ask you something else, too. Along that same line around football. Come on, I just had it.
We're talking about players, annoying commercials, athletes inside of those commercials. Is there anybody I don't like to see? Rob Gronkowski's another one I don't like to watch.
Yeah, because he's another terrible actor. He's just
His
stupid.
IQ is like 5. He's such a meathead.
Those USAA commercials, they don't make him look good.
No, that's the point.
I know, but that makes him even worse.
Yeah. Trash.
He's like the Pete Davidson of football. Like, they just are like, Pete, you look like a stoner. Go out there and do every stoner skit. And he's like, all right, I'm just banging Kardashian on the side. It's fine.
Is he still? I don't know if he still
I
is.
don't know. Well, that whole Kanye documentary came out or whatever it was. Did you see that?
No.
No?
No, I didn't sit down and watch that. No. I'm okay. I'm definitely okay. I'd rather we watch, like, I don't know, Ozark from the very beginning or something.
Yeah.
And not that. Speaking of which, April 29th, part 2 comes out.
Yeah.
So,
What do you think's going to happen on part 2?
I don't know, man.
Like, how do you think it ends?
I think the family takes over the cartel somehow. I think him and Ruth just turn around and start clearing house and just going off the rails, and it's going to be a slaughter fest in part 2. I don't know. We'll see.
And then Ruth and Marty
I hope. Yeah, I think Ruth and Marty are going to take over. I hope Wendy loses her mind even
I hope
more.
Wendy dies.
Wow,
I hate that character.
Here we go. This
You
is
like
it.
that character?
I mean, dude, her acting is unbelievable.
I'm not saying she's a bad actor. I'm saying I hate the character.
Bad actress.
If I hate
Bad
the
actress.
If I hate the character, that means that you're probably a good actress. Like
Yeah.
the wife in Breaking Bad. hated her.
Never seen Breaking
You
Bad.
never seen? Jesus Christ!
You've never seen Harry Potter. Don't start with me.
All right, one's mythical, one's real life. I have a meth lab in my basement. What? So I hate her as yeah, I hate both of them as actresses.
Okay.
But I hope she dies, 100%.
Wow.
What did you think?
gonna ruin
Should we do spoilers? Do you think that people
No.
have seen it already?
No. There's people waiting until it's all out. We shouldn't.
All right. So if you are just watching Ozark, skip ahead 5 minutes because I want to talk to Mike about this. Oh my God. What did you think when he? First of all, hate that. I'll put a timestamp here to skip forward to. Okay.
Skip names and because I already
No.
know what you're talking
No.
about event wise. You
No,
don't
no,
have.
no.
You don't have to.
We'll talk about it. I'll put a timestamp here. You go to this time if you don't want spoilers on Ozark end of season. We'll be good to go. First of all, Wyatt and Darlene kissing, it's the most disgusting thing in the entire world. I want to throw up every single time I watch that.
Yeah, she's not a gilf. Not at all.
And Wyatt is not a gilf either.
No,
a grandson.
he looks like a dinosaur. He's very oddly shaped as a human being. He's got a long neck. I don't like that.
Super long neck.
Super long neck.
But when that cartel dude came in and shot them, I was not expecting that at all. Were you expecting them to die like within seconds?
I mean, her, yeah. And then I thought he was going to live, not just while he's a witness. That was surprising.
Dude, that was wild.
Yeah,
they
it
did
was.
that to Helen, though, too. They killed her off in like a second. That's why I love this show so much, is because it takes you from like one end of the spectrum to the other in milliseconds.
And then
you're
it
like, what did I
ends.
just watch?
Yeah, and then it ends.
Yeah, then this screen comes up and I'm like, shit, Jesus. All right, another hour.
I know.
But okay, so we're back. Welcome, everybody. But what did you... So you think that Ruth and Marty are taking over the cartel?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You think that they get back together? I would love that. I want them to be friends again. Business partners again.
I don't know, Marty.
Yeah. I don't give a shit about fuck.
You really pissed me off, Marty. Yeah, I mean, I'd be down for that. You know it's going to be wild. So yeah, we'll see.
I was thinking the same thing. I think that there's no way that Marty and Ruth both die.
No.
I think that they will take over the cartel too, and Marty's just never going to get out of it.
Yeah.
And then, who's the young kid? Why am I forgetting his name right now?
The son?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also drawing a blank. Go ahead.
I think that, then he'll become the chief dude that's doing all the laundering. Marty will be like growing and like doing all the distribution and stuff like that. And then Charlotte will be just killing it too. Like, I feel like that makes sense for the show.
I love Charlotte. She's such a savage
She
too.
is.
Yeah.
Dude, what is his name?
What is his name? Damn it.
Charlotte and...
It's not Ben, because that's a brother.
No, that's the
Rip.
one that... Yeah. R.I.P., bro. I don't want to look it up. What is his name? It's not Charlie. Charlie is...
No, is it Charlie?
Is it?
Is it Charlie? I thought it was Charlie.
Charlie is Wyatt's real name in real life.
Oh my god. Ozark son name. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Charlotte and... No, don't, dude. This is so bad.
Jonah.
Fuck.
Nailed it.
Dude, we weren't even close with
Not even
Charlie.
close.
I knew that, too. Jonah. God dang it. But yeah, I think that'd be a good way for that show to end.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Are you watching that?
No, watch The Sopranos.
There's that new show with Ruth in it.
No, I'm not watching that. I'm
No,
watching The
I
Sopranos.
want to watch that.
You gotta watch The Sopranos
I'm
first.
not watching The Sopranos, dude.
What is wrong? Every time I recommend a show, Derek, you don't watch it. Every time you recommend a show, Derek, I watch it.
You
That's not
have more
fair.
time than me.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, you do. I'm editing 3 nights a week, and the other 2 nights I'm sleeping by 7.
Speaking of that, I went to bed last night at 8 o'clock. Jumping Jehoshaphat, dude. It felt so good to fall asleep. Oh, it was lovely. And then I woke up and I was like,
Shit.
ready to go.
Sorry, Sean.
Not
I
even
killed
close.
it, though, this last week. It was
Dude,
15:07, bro. That was awesome.
I gotta tell you about the shipment of sweaters to Megafan.
Yeah, tell me about it. What happened?
So I shipped 2 separate boxes. One for Megafan, one for Megafan Part 2. So they're both going downstate. So they went out the door. I paid for it. And then when I was in line, I sent a picture of the boxes and sent it to Sean and said, hey, you and Pat's are going out the door. Here you go. And he's like, hell yeah, excited. You know, raise hell, praise Dale. So they go out. All of a sudden, nothing happens. There's like no word. It's real quiet. We use USPS for shipping, so this is like a first. They've never had an issue before. But since they're going broke, then, you know, things are changing. So anyways, Pat's hanging out with Sean, walks into Sean's house wearing a sweater. They were mailed the same day at the same time. Sean's like, where's my sweater? I said, I don't know. Somewhere in New York State. Like, why did he get his and you didn't get yours? So come to find out, Sean goes to the field for work, and his wife sends him a photo of a slip that says there was no package slip from the sender on your package. You have to pay $10.67 for postage to retrieve your box. And I said, nope, already paid that. So I went to USPS and I walked in with a huge smile on my face. And the one worker there, she's like, she lives there, so she's seen me before because obviously we've sent 15 sweaters out in 2 days. And she's like, uh-oh. And I said, well, we have some investigating to do. And she goes, all right, let's hear it. And I said, I sent a box out and I have a date-time stamp and it was sent downstate to New York. One of the boxes arrived and the other did not. And then they got a slip asking them to pay for postage, though I already did pay for postage because how did the box get there in the first place? And they're not paying for it. I'm not paying for it twice. So, you know,
Figure it out
and stop holding the box hostage. So she goes, do you have a receipt? And I said, nope, because I don't. I didn't keep Sean's. I kept everybody else's. And I was like,
Really?
Damn it. So I said, I have date-time stamp. I have my card that I used. I know exactly what terminal I was in, which is what they call registers. And I said, and I know the guy who checked me out. And they're just like, what do you look like? And I was like, him, but shorter. And it was like this Indian guy. And he's like, oh. And he like looked at me and I was like, might even be you. He's like, what day was it? And I said, Valentine's Day. He's like, I was off. And then he went back and worked with the other customer that he was dealing with. So then they called this other guy. He was a manager. He comes over to like where you do the passports. And then he pulled up the computer and he's like, all right, let's see what we can do. And I said, all right, here's all my info. And it went out the door at 2:20 p.m. on Valentine's Day. Here's the photo. Those are the boxes. One went this address, it delivered. And then another one went to Orchard Park. And then another one went downstate. And he's like, okay. So he's like, let's see. So he pulls it all up and he's going through. And then he's like, do you know the total? And I said, actually, I do, because I transferred the money from our account to my personal account because I paid for it and then replenished myself because that's our agreement. And then, everything was all there. I had all my ducks in a row. And then he's like, yeah, it's right here. And he clicked on it. And then he printed the receipt. And he's like, here you go. I said, sweet. Go do your job. Like, I don't need that. Like, you need that. I was like, call your people and release the box because it's being held hostage. And he's like, oh, I didn't know what was going on. So then the other worker came over. She explained it. And then he's like, all right, let me see what I can do. So he calls Coram, New York, Coram, New York. And he's like, hey, do you have a box that's supposed to go to Megafan? And they're
Is that
like,
what you addressed it to?
of course.
Love it.
And they're like, yeah, we do. And he's like, okay, I have the receipt. I have the customer here. He has all the evidence. He already paid for postage. Deliver the box. And they're like, it'll be there later today. So I'm just like, boom. So I was all juiced up. And then I texted Sean's wife and I was like, all set. They'll be there by end of day. Let me know when it arrives. And then they got delivered.
Love that.
So all ducks are in a row, just doing COO things.
That's a feel-good story.
It is a feel-good story. Just know that we take care of you. So that's all we got.
You want another feel-good story?
Hold on. Did Gina hook up her mom?
Not yet. We haven't seen her.
We could have mailed it. Could have been there by now, Derek.
She'll get it.
Yeah.
Don't worry. She'll get it.
Yeah, we'll save on postage.
Yeah.
So what's up? What's the other feel-good story? Ukraine's winning? What?
Yeah. Dude, that is a really feel-good story. We're going to
It
talk
is.
about that after. But, so I went to my driver fitting 9 days ago. And the dude's like, it's going to be there like middle, end of March. I'm like, damn it.
Damn.
Dude, you're not creating the driver. You're not putting the carbon wood in there.
Hand
it's
welding.
done. Yeah, you're done. What do you do? What's taking so long? So I waited 9 days, and today I called it. I'm like, yo, do you have a tracking number for me? And he's like, listen, I don't handle this. How about you call the store? And I'm like, I just want to chat with you on the website. I don't want to call the store. I don't like talking to people. So I called the store, and this like 14-year-old kid answered that was stoned, and he's like, I don't know. Let me transfer you to someone else. I'm like, you are the absolute worst. I just want to know the status of my order. This isn't that hard. So then he transferred me to someone else, and he's like, I don't know. Let me put you on hold. So I put him on hold, and it was like this weird 80s song that was playing hard. And then he comes back, and he's like, all right, what's your address and email address and all that stuff? So I tell him, and he goes, oh, okay, let me check the tracking. This is your tracking number. You can track it right now. Let me see where it is. And he's like, it's going to be delivered tomorrow. I'm like, let's go, bro. So my new driver's coming tomorrow. Stoked because I'm golfing on Friday. Took off work. Dude, I have 40 hours I have to use by the end of March.
Shut up, Derek.
Shut up, Derek.
My God.
It's stressful, dude. It's a really stressful time having to take days off before a date, or else you lose them. I'm not doing that. But yeah, so Ukraine, what's going on there, bud? Did you get that YouTube video that I sent you of Jocko?
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Dude, it's a really good video.
That's a tonight thing.
The title of the video is President Jocko Willink Addresses the Situation. And I'm like, is this his, like...
Yeah, no, this is the second time he's done it because he has absolutely zero faith in the current leadership within this country.
Dude, I would have zero leadership in basically anybody within the last, like, our lifetime in office right now doing any of this.
Yeah.
Because I would feel 100% like Trump would start a nuclear war somehow. Like, somehow something would go catastrophic. Biden's not doing anything. I don't think Barack Obama would do anything. He would just give Iran more money.
So you think this would have happened if Trump was still in office?
I don't necessarily think it would have happened, but I think that if it did happen, there's no way Trump would keep it under control without aggravating Putin and causing some sort of nuke blast.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else believes Trump's sane, so they probably would have just waited.
Yeah.
Which is what exactly happened.
Yeah, same thing with Putin. I mean, no one feels like he's sane.
Well, yeah.
No one has any idea what he's going to do.
Right.
It's just, I highly doubt that he does any type of nuke. Because as soon as you do that, or you initiate that, that's starting war, right? Like, you can't do that.
Basically.
Like,
yeah.
Isn't there an agreement? Like, you can't drop nukes on another country without starting a war? Like, I feel like that should be in some agreement. Just so you know, right now, I got a Twitter notification that the UN is meeting about the situation, which is super counterproductive because Russia and China are on the UN. So it doesn't really matter what the UN does because the UN is an absolute joke. But whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, Putin's still on, like, the board or whatever.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what the UN does.
No. I mean, they did give jets to Ukraine, so that's nice.
The UN did?
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Right. But that's, I mean... And then you have Americans on TikTok giving thoughts and, like, shut up. Thoughts and prayers? Yeah, hold on, let me send over your shipment of thoughts and prayers. So stupid. And 97% of Americans didn't even know where it was on a map, so it's fine. Yeah. But anyways.
I don't think people realize how big Ukraine is.
Dude, it's huge.
It's enormous.
Yeah, it's 6.5 hours from Lviv to Kyiv in a train. That's the other thing that blows me into orbit is when I hear news anchors incorrectly speaking and pronunciating. That's not even a word. Pronouncing the cities.
I hate when people pronunciate stuff.
Yeah, like it's Lviv.
You're getting so
and Kyiv.
I've never seen you adjust your headphones that aggressively before.
I get so annoyed because it's not even remotely close, and it takes 2 seconds. 2 seconds to figure it out. Like, just ask. You ignorant POS. Just
so it's
ask.
Kyiv
it's Kyiv and Lviv.
Lviv.
Kiev,
yeah, people call it Kiev.
Kiev is the Russian pronunciation of the city.
Oh, okay.
It's Kyiv.
I knew it was Kyiv, but I don't know what Kiev meant.
Yeah,
I thought it was just ignorant people.
It's the Russian pronunciation.
Sounds right.
It's wrong.
I mean, it sounds correct that it's a Russian pronunciation.
Right. It's so annoying. And then it's Lviv. It's not Lviv. Morons. The one guy said, I'm like, are you even trying? Like,
Is there
are
any
you even
vowels in
trying?
here?
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? And then the news anchor from MSNBC, because I flipped, I've been watching all of them.
Why?
Because I know that I'm going to have a conversation with unbelievably ignorant individuals that only watch one station, so I'm playing chess. And MSNBC literally said, Russia is a very, very, very powerful military. They have very, very, very high-tech equipment. They have very, very, very sufficient supply chains. And I'm like, dude, they're rolling into Ukraine right now with a T-72 tank. Do you know why it's a T-72? I'll let you think about that for 13 seconds. 15 seconds. And
It was made in 72.
they don't even have night vision, bro. They have batteries that they pour water into to keep running. And you want to sit here and talk about how powerful they're broke. Absolutely broke. The Russian military's in shambles.
The Russian economy is in shambles.
Because it's all
Russia's
based
just
on oil.
destroyed, Yeah.
And that's the biggest pet peeve that I have. And it's so obvious, but it's fine. If you want to stop the entire thing, you cut off the oil supply, because that destroys his economy, and that destroys his military, and that also stops his profits, because that's where he makes his money to fund what he's doing. Instead, we sanctioned things outside of energy because we also rely on it because of in absolute incompetence when it came to energy policies within our own country. Sure, let's stop the pipeline that's on our own hemisphere and then buy oil from Russia. Perfect. Then we'll just give him Nord Stream 2. No big deal. Oh yeah, Afghanistan, we'll give that to China. It's fine. And then we'll buy some, a couple barrels from the UAE. That's fine. The Saudis, they can hook us up. And then all of a sudden he invades Ukraine and we're like, we're going to sanction you, except we need the oil.
Yeah, because we don't want gas prices to go up.
Open Keystone, moron. Like, if you want to be energy independent, we can't just flip a switch and then wait for the sun to do things. Like, it's so frustrating. And it's just all incompetence. That's why Germany's having so much trouble now. Because they went green, and, well, green's great. Green's great. And now they can't even do anything because they buy their oil from Russia. And a lot of people in Germany have Volkswagens that aren't electric.
Right.
It's stupid. It's
Well,
just so dumb.
The thing with shutting off or sanctioning the oil from Russia is that Russia knows that that's a temporary thing because the world won't be able to function without it.
Correct, especially
even
after
doing
we
that-
lost Afghanistan.
Yeah, so even doing that wouldn't be like a long-term fix. It would be a short, like, penalty on Russia to say you can't make money for like a week, but then we have to open stuff back up because it's $10 a gallon in the United States.
And because Putin's producing oil for the world, and oil's going up because other world powers are focusing on green, it just increased the amount per barrel,
Right.
which increased his profits into the billions instead of the millions, which meant that he could then fund an invasion because it's calculated. The only thing he didn't calculate for is the resolve the Ukrainian people have and the willingness of their own population to fight because they're so sick of communism and having a dictator.
It's so wild seeing like all the reports coming out of people that are fighting now. Like this former heavyweight champion is grabbing a gun and he's fighting. This boxer is fighting. This former president's fighting. Like this
The
chick
tennis
is
player.
fighting. Like everyone is fighting. It's
Correct.
so not cool. I don't want to say cool to see because
No,
it's
it's
not
inspiring.
cool. It's inspiring to see all these people come together because there's a real issue.
And you know what it proves? The current, have to be specific here, democratic policies create problems and are not realistic. They're feel good, they're not practical. There's still something that exists called reality, and hate to break it to you, but this entire situation is reality. People are fighting against communism. People are fighting against a dictator. They're fighting for natural resources that exist on Earth that move and fund everything. I will be the first person to tell you there is nothing wrong with buying a Tesla. There is nothing wrong with putting solar panels on your house and using an additional energy source to fund your life. However, do not completely 100% get rid of petrol. It's so ass backwards and asinine because it's just going to hurt you, your economy, your nation's GDP, etc. And no one is ranting and raving about, well, you know, that ammo that's being shot was produced by the solar panels. Like, no one's saying that.
Yeah.
It's grit, it's hard work, it's true work ethic that produce things that are being used in real-world conflicts. No one's shooting a soybean at somebody because they're mad at them. They're using bombs, weapons, missiles, planes, etc. because that's the real world. Like, the whole open border thing, that doesn't exist.
Right.
Doesn't exist.
What do you think about, like,
The coexist bumper sticker? Sit down. This is what... No, I'm just kidding.
like companies that are discontinuing? Like, I saw a couple liquor stores like taking
Yeah, it's
Russian
stupid.
vodka.
It just hurts. It hurts the people.
I feel like that's the same thing as like putting a black Instagram picture for
Correct.
that one
It's-
day that it's just like, what are you doing virtue signaling like this? It's
exactly.
so stupid.
It's sending thoughts and prayers overseas.
Did you see Dominic Hasek went hard on Ovechkin?
What
Dude,
do
it
you
was
say?
so funny because Ovechkin, like, basically 10 years ago pledged his loyalty to Putin because Ovechkin's Russian, obviously, and
Right.
he didn't want to talk bad about the president. Whatever. If he did talk bad, Ovechkin probably wouldn't be with us to this day because he would have been shot and killed. But he said, Ovechkin's quotes, because for some reason what we want to do now in America is ask athletes what they think of the situation if they're Russian or Ukrainian. Like, that has any relevance on what we're talking about right now,
Yeah.
and we even care what they say. But anyway, Ovechkin was asked what his thoughts were on the Ukrainian situation, and he's just like, I just don't want war, man. I want peace. That's all he said. And Hasek's like, this is a disgrace. Your country sucks. And just started going off on Ovechkin, saying, like, the NHL should ban all Russian players. I'm like, dude, come on. Like,
That's so...
I understand everyone's hatred towards Russia right now. I get it.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of people in Russia that have nothing to do with this. They were out protesting Putin for doing this. Like, don't just take liquor off the shelf because it's Russian. They're not funding Putin. Like, that's not what this is. It just boggles my mind that this is what we're doing now, and we feel like we should be looking at athletes to say, I really wonder what Alexander Ovechkin thinks about this situation. I wonder whatever that tennis player was. Like, what he really thinks about this situation. This NASCAR driver. All that stuff's coming out. I'm like, dude, I couldn't care less. Get me somebody competent in an office to tell me what's going on, and I'll be fine. But you have Jen Psaki up there. I don't have a comment on this. It's like, you are worthless.
Yep.
I just love that Putin is like, I wasn't expecting this from Ukraine.
No, not at all.
And he like ordered a state of emergency, or he declared a state of emergency and was like asking out to all local hospitals and everything like that to send nurses because we're preparing for something bad. What do you think that is? Do you think that's just reactive to what happened, or do you think that he's planning something?
It could go both ways.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a chemical attack, which makes no sense to me because it's literally based on wind. Like, if you're upwind of something, you know, like, goodbye, mustard gas. Like, I'm going to watch it float away. Like, it's just so, it's so dumb. And then it's a huge war crime because then you're just gassing innocent people. It's stupid. I mean, not to say he's up to like 7 war crimes already since this thing kicked off in 5 days. Then he's already sunk international ships in international waters, and the world is just not batting an eye over it because they don't want World War III, which I get, but I mean, you got it. Dude, even Switzerland took a stance and said, nah, we're kind of siding with Ukraine here. Like, they're neutral forever. Like,
Yeah.
that's borderline in their constitution. And they're like, this is kind of wrong. You know, like, I'm not too fond of this.
Didn't Belarus just pledge to Russia, though? Like, today?
They pledged to Russia,
Yeah, I
saying that
think-
we agree with Russia?
I think so. I think that's just what came out.
I don't know. I didn't see that.
I'll look it up to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it said.
There's... Hold on, let me check. I'm in a post-deployment group chat on Instagram with all the boys, and obviously all we talk about is that all day
How do you think
because
this
we were
ends?
there. How do I think it ends?
Yeah.
I think Putin realizes that he won't win because he was...
Oh, Belarus shed neutral
there you go.
is what it was.
This was supposed to be a 3-day thing.
Right.
There's no supply, like resupply, really logistically planned and coordinated And now because of all these sanctions, he really doesn't have that ability anymore. So you can't, I mean, what are you going to do? Drop 80% of your military into some other country, lose a decent percentage of them to death because they're getting, captured or killed, basically, and then you have no way to resupply any of them. So you and I jump out of a plane, parachute, land, we're here, say we make it for 2 days. Hey man, you got any water?
Right.
Like, did you eat that piece of bread yet? Does anybody know what's going to happen now? Hey, did you hear we don't have any, like, our dollar's useless now? Like, our ruble or whatever is, like, not even a full penny in the United States. Hey, do you know, like, your cousin's in the streets right now protesting? Hey, watch out for that Molotov cocktail. Hey, did you hear that jet ahead? Because that's, like, from the UN now. Like, those are those conversations that they're having on the ground if they're still alive. Like, it's not... The morale's destroyed. They realize their president dictator has just destroyed any chance that they had at, like, a decent life. They're forever a third world country. And now the entire world is like, yeah, your president's kind of a douche. And then you're, like, actively getting shot at by someone's aunt from the 14th floor of a skyscraper, and you're like, what do I do? Yeah, because the whole country hates you, man. Like, no one wants you there. And then all of a sudden, someone gives you sunflower seeds and says, when you die, you're gonna produce plants for us. Thanks. Like, okay, like the psychological warfare. And then you got to add water to the battery because you're using technology from the 60s. And then once it's dark, you're just like relying on the street lights and then like the campfires and the barrels because you don't even have nods. It's a dumpster fire. It's a joke.
Do you think this ends with Putin dying? Do you think someone kills him or no?
There's reports that he's doing this because his health is declining. Like,
really?
He spent some time up in the mountains with his boys, like all the billionaires, and they're just kind of like, that's it, his Krogi or whatever they're called. I definitely did not say that correctly, but the Kremlin. They're all up there. Yeah, they're all up
People
there together.
From the grocery store, Kroger's.
Yeah, they're making pierogies. But they're doing that whole thing up there in the mountains, and I guess his health was declining, but he's absolutely lost his mind. Hitler did the same thing, just tanked.
How old is he?
Putin?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's been in power for 20 years alone.
Right.
He was KGB before that. He's probably mid to late 60s. My guess is 66. How old is he?
I'm looking it up, Mike. Vlad.
And that's the other thing, man. Vladimir Putin.
69.
69. Well,
Damn.
October
7th. Good day.
It's a good number. Anyways,
I'm so mad he was born on that day. That's a great number.
Well, no. His current age, not the day he was born.
Gotcha. Nailed it.
Yeah, so do you think there's any... Here's a question for you.
Oh, Jesus.
We're going to go off the rails. Do you think there's any correlation between Vladimir Putin and Vlad the Impaler? I mean, they're both pretty awful people.
Yeah, pretty bad people. I don't think so.
They're going to come after us, man. We're going to be, like, banned from Russia forever.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But so...
Moscow would
if
have
he
been cool to
dies,
see.
is there already a successor planned?
Good question. I don't know. Maybe the prime minister, because they went like back and forth between who had power, just to kind of skirt some legal laws or whatever.
Jesus, his middle name's Vlad too.
Vladimir Vlad Putin.
Yeah, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. That's his real name.
Interesting.
That's a weird name. Is a Russian political and former intelligence officer. He was former KGB.
Yeah. So.
President of Russia since 2012.
Stacked bodies.
2012, that's it?
Yeah.
That's just what Google says.
Right.
Google's in bed with the Russians. Who is Prez once Putin dies?
Yeah, what's the succession chain of command?
Succeeded by Dmitry Medvedev.
Which is what position? It's not like there's a VP, right?
Putin's
or is it the prime minister?
Russian President Vladimir Putin at a meeting had...
Again, people, we learn on the fly here.
Zero idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Russian...
I don't know the hierarchy of Russian government. If you know, drop a comment while we try to figure this out. And also,
So-
don't forget to subscribe.
So this is interesting. This is from the businessinsider.com, so super probably reliable.
We need
Technically, the answer is straightforward. On January 15th, Putin announced a series of constitutional changes and dismissed the cabinet of Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev and replaced him with a little-known tax official, Mikhail Mishustin. The change allowed himself to stay in power, yet limited future presidents to 2 terms total in office.
That's what I meant about
He's such
switching
a
hands
savage,
of power.
dude.
Yeah, like he had to step down, so then he gave it to somebody else, even though he was still in control. And then after that, then he got back in. So he's a czar, man. He's there forever. And dude, they're saying he's worth like $200 billion.
Yeah, well, that's how he's funding all this, is from his personal stash of money.
Yeah, and then his oil profits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild, dude.
We'll see. We'll definitely
They
see.
probably don't have state income tax still up there, I'll tell you that much. Might move.
Could you imagine? Goodness.
It's wild. But yeah, man, it's a good conversation.
We'll see what
For
happens.
53 minutes.
We called it, though. We recorded right before it kicked off.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well, let's try to do the same thing really quick before we're done. China hasn't yet invaded Taiwan, but they're
going to.
close.
They're going to.
You said 2 weeks. 2 weeks from last week. Do you still think it's within a week, or do you think it's still 2 weeks away now?
I still think it's 2 weeks away, but they're doing it. I'm convinced they're taking Taiwan.
What do you think their thoughts are, though? Like, maybe we should do a little bit more reconnaissance on Taiwan to see if their military could kill us, like Ukraine is killing Russia, or do
It's
they just
China,
not
bro.
care? Yeah,
It's
they're
China.
good.
They got a 1 million man army.
Yeah.
They know that. If not bigger. Their army's huge.
Yeah, it's the biggest art. I was watching I love these videos on Facebook where it's like a time lapse of like 1800s all the way to 2022, like the richest people in America, stuff like that. And it's crazy how, first of all, U.S. has never been at the top of how large our military is.
Nope.
We're like powerful, but we're super small. Love that about us. Love this journey for us. But during this time lapse, it's all like Russia and China like going back and forth. And then recently it's just like China's just like exploded. Why do they have so many people? Because each China. Never mind, I'm not going to go there.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. But why? Like, just because they have so many people that are super passionate about their nation that they're just
World
enlisted?
dominance, dude.
Yeah.
World dominance.
It's crazy that you can have that many people buy into that.
Well, when it's all you know,
Right.
that's all you see. They're in control of everything. That's communism.
I'm surprised that North Korea hasn't really tried to take over a ton of places.
Dude, they shot a missile
Yeah, I saw that.
the other day.
Yeah.
It's just like, still here. Boop. Don't forget. Hey.
Hey. But they haven't like tried to take over South Korea in a while, right?
No, dude, they're trying to keep their lights on.
It's true. It's another.
Little dot on Earth.
So China's really our biggest threat.
No doubt. They've been since 2014.
Like they're a third world country. North
Especially
Korea's a
now
third
because of these
world
sanctions,
country,
yeah.
Like we have these nuclear. Okay, but this is what I was asking you about a week ago when we were texting, because I always bounce this shit off of you because you know way more about this than I do. I'm just a Googler, so I just Google everything and it basically corroborates everything that I'm thinking. I'm like, oh, I'm a genius. Basically, I'm general. But why would a NATO country now not invest in nuclear weapons? Like, not start building their nuclear weapons? Like Ukraine. They were never NATO, but like...
Yeah, that's a horrendous example.
Yeah, but like...
because of
what would be-
uranium. The cost of uranium is insane.
Well, but...
and finding it, sourcing it, and then having the technology and infrastructure around it to support it, to then build a nuke. That's why. It's the logistics behind a nuke program.
But
That's
like-
why a nuke program is such a thing. Like, everybody acknowledges the Manhattan Project, right? Like, it's a thing. 3 Mile Island was an obvious disaster with and then Chernobyl. Those are two obvious nuclear power plant disasters, right? And then you have North Korea's nuclear program. You have Israel's nuclear program. Iran's. Like, all of those things come up because it's like, and China.
But like, in order to join NATO, part of it is like you have to stop developing nuclear. Like, we'll protect you, but like, give us... You can't be doing this anymore. But like, why would a country now be like, United States has my back? Because we like don't.
We're the world police. We have everyone's back. But it's Article 5 that protects all of NATO. And that's why everyone's kind of got that little buffer of, we'll let Putin get away with that. We'll let Putin get away with that. That didn't necessarily really matter. We'll let them get away with that because they know if Article 5's invoked, then
What's Article 5?
if you attack one nation of NATO, you attack all. So that's World War III. And that's why they're just kind of like, it's okay. He sank a ship. It was Japan's. It's fine.
Because Ukraine. Okay, yeah. Because
they're in
Ukraine
NATO,
wasn't
but-
in NATO.
Correct. Because they had the conflicting border.
Yeah.
And that's the whole conversation we had about his legacy. That's also
what
about the
about those other
resources,
two-
USSR,
What about those other two countries?
Belarus, and
No, the more north. What is it?
more north.
Like more north of Belarus.
Belarus is north.
Of Ukraine, yeah, but even more north. Aren't there two countries that are on Russia's border that are looking to join NATO right now? Or I was like,
Are
they
you talking
should join
about
NATO right now.
Finland?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But like now that you have, or now that you know that Russia can't do anything, basically because they sucked at trying to take over and invade Ukraine, why wouldn't Finland and Sweden, was it the other one? Why wouldn't they join NATO now? Because like Russia's weak.
Well, it takes time to join NATO. It's not just like a quick conversation and then you just like fill out an application. You know what I mean? It's a process to join NATO in the
Well,
first
yeah, but
place.
like why wouldn't other countries do it now that they see that Russia's basically
Because
nothing?
each country is different. So some countries don't want to get involved in things like that, and that's why their population's a specific size. Like it's every country has a different constitution, so that might be why. And there's some countries that exist that just flat out said we have a neutral stance forever on anything that ever comes up. We're neutral, and it's in their constitution.
But like, what if Russia tries to invade Switzerland? Not that saying that they would, but like,
They'd lose.
why?
Well, first of all, terrain. There's no way they're going to get over those mountains.
True.
Second, everyone in Switzerland's prior service, that's a male, and then they get their weapon reissued to them when they leave. So they're all armed. And then there's just no there's no way to do it
Are
because
most neutral countries former military? Like a lot of
no,
people
but
don't?
Switzerland did it right. That's for sure. And there's a lot of Swiss pride. So there's no way. That's why it's never happened yet because they're like invadable. Very similar to us. Like we have the Pacific and the Atlantic, which is great, but then we also have like the Gulf, and then it's logistically a lot to even get a navy over here.
Yeah.
It's a lot. That's why aircraft carriers changed the battle landscape because you have, in the battle space in general, because now you can move planes closer because you have a ship to do it. But then it comes up on, can the nation sustain having a naval fleet of that size? That's why, Japan, that was a big thing for Japan in World War II. But then now moving forward, that's one of the biggest things with China is what's the size of their navy. And their navy's large.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. They have a huge navy. So, but it's all based on strategic locations on the outside. I mean, that's why when we leave, we never really leave a country. That's why we still have a base in Germany. We have places all over so that we can touch and be there in a moment's notice if need be with things that actually matter. Planes, ships, etc. But China's taking over ports because they want trade, because they know that their economy is based on it with the import-export. That's why and then they have airspace in Africa, plus the ports. That's also one of the major things with Putin, with Odessa and Crimea, is because of the port, with trading and then moving oil, the pipeline's right there. I mean, it's a lot. That's what he needs, but he needs those natural resources in Ukraine to fund Russia because that's what Russia's based on.
Do you think any reversing happens where Crimea becomes a country again?
Could.
Now that like Russia's kind of fallen apart?
Yeah, but I mean, what does that look like? How do you do that?
That's why I'm asking you, bro. I don't know how to do this.
I don't either.
All right, well, instead of speculating, let's wrap this up. Wrap it up!
All right, everybody, we will see you next week. Derek and I have taxes to do. Say a prayer.
True. Good point. What time is it?
5?
Oh, it's only 5. We're good, bro.
So, well,
Golden.
got to get home, deal with traffic. Nobody can drive. We'll talk about it later. All right, everybody, thank you for all your continued support. Make sure you go to queencitycreativeworks.com, pick up a bottle opener, a coaster set, and or a water bottle. I did sell a water bottle today, so expect that order. Outside of that, we will see you next week to talk about another fun-filled episode of whatever we decide, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much for our sponsors. Be on the lookout for a couple more. Got some things in the works. We have interviews coming up as well. We are booked through April, essentially, for interviews, which is insane.
And this is the end of February, so.
Yeah, and at time of filming. And Patrons, thank you very much. Our quarterly hang is coming up soon.
We should post about that. We didn't post in Patreon yet, did we?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, dude.
Did we get responses? Are they
I
juiced?
got a text. There's only 2 tiers that are eligible for it. So there's 3 people.
No, there's 3 people.
We will see you next week, everybody, and we will go from there. Appreciate it. Go Bills. Derek? All right, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Be a good
Appreciate you
person.
joining. This has been episode 128. Please remember to always drink responsibly. Be a good person. And Michael,
Do not litter.
we're out.